Welcome to In the Kitchen with Just Keep Rowling. I'm Ellen.
I'm Keighty.
You might recognize our voices from our podcast of the same name, Just Keep Rowling, a Harry Potter book movie compare and contrast podcast.
Each week we release a new episode that dives into a new chapter of Harry Potter, and we compare it to the corresponding movie scenes.
We also decided that we want to try and roll this into a cooking show. So here we are, and today we're going to be making miniature butterbeer pies. I have our heavy cream, our milk, several bowls, 3 eggs, cornstarch, salt, dark brown sugar, water, butter, vanilla extract, and some scotch. You don't actually need the scotch, but I need the scotch, so we're going to be doing the scotch. This step is to make the butterscotch pudding that is going to serve as part of the filling. If you don't want to be extra like me and actually just...
You?
I am a little extra.
No.
I'm totally extra and I'm making my pudding from scratch, but you can use instant pudding from the box, or you could even use snack pack puddings. It's all going to work the same. You just need about 2 cups worth. So we're going to start by mixing together the creamer and the milk in one bowl. And I will just pour that in here. 1. Whisk this together. Doing the mixture of the creamer and milk makes sure that the pudding doesn't end up too thick. So I'm just going to give this a good whisk.
Well done.
Well, thank you.
Very nice whisking.
It was whiskey, but I got it done.
You did good.
All right, next, I already separated 2 eggs in here, but I'm going to show you a trick for separating the third one because we need 3 egg yolks. So what I usually do, crack the egg over a smaller second bowl that's not going to be used. I just carefully pour the yolk back and forth between the 2 shells until I get rid of all of the white stuff and that weird hangy thing on there that always seems to want to stick to it.
Is that a technical term?
That is the weird hangy thing. We're not going to do that again, so you guys just get to watch me throw eggshells on the floor because Keighty distracts me with her sarcasm.
It's kind of my job.
In the 3 egg yolks, we add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and we're going to whisk that together until it's completely blended. I got a little overzealous on my whisking. This needs to be completely mixed. You don't want any lumps in there. Because who wants lumpy pudding? All right. That is pretty well blended. So now that I've got that thoroughly mixed, I'm going to get my dark brown sugar. It's 3/4 of a packed cup. And my 3 tablespoons of water. And I also need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Can you grab that for me?
I can.
All right, so now that we're at the stove, we are going to add that brown sugar, packed, and the salt, please. Thank you, hand. It's my helping hand. And the water. Get that mixed together really well. Once it is thoroughly mixed, I'm going to turn the stove on to a medium heat. It's looking pretty good. And you will let this cook, caramelize up a little bit for 5 to 6 minutes. You'll start to smell it. It's already starting to smell really good. So now I have to add the milk and cream mixture. So if you could bring me, oh, look at that. She's ahead of the game. So I am going to
handy.
just pour this in. And I'm going to get that thoroughly whisked. That looks pretty good. And now I just need to let this come to a boil. I'm getting a few little bubbles here, so I'm going to remove it from the heat. We're going to add in the butter. That is 3 tablespoons of butter. And then we will just stir this until it is blended in all of the way. And once this is nice and smooth, we get to add the vanilla extract and the scotch, which I highly recommend doing.
Oh wait, you needed that?
Don't drink the scotch.
Where's the fun for me?
So that butter is just about blended in there. It's thickening up nicely. It looks like pudding.
It's a good thing. It's weird if it didn't.
It's just about ready. So if you would please add that teaspoon of vanilla and that tablespoon of scotch.
Half tablespoon, sure.
There's a reason why they call it butterscotch. My stomach is growling. All right, I'm gonna let this cool down for about 5 minutes and then I can put it in the fridge to chill. All right, so now that it's had some time to cool a little bit, I'm gonna pour it into a glass container. We are going to cover that with plastic wrap, and you want the plastic wrap to go all the way down to the surface of the pudding. This will prevent a film from growing on top of it. I'm gonna go with growing.
Skin from forming.
The skin from forming, that filmy surface that you don't want. And once you get that placed down, wrap it around tightly, put it in the fridge. It will need to chill for 4 to 6 hours or overnight, which is what I did with my other batch. So if you want to go put that in the fridge, I will grab my other batch right here. So now while our filling is chilling.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
Our filling is chilling, which, like I said, has to do that for 4 to 6 hours. Gives us plenty of time to prep the mini pie crusts. I use a muffin tin for it. Any muffin tin will do. I tend to prefer this Green Life one that I got on Amazon because the cups are a little bit wider and shorter. And it just makes a really good sized pie crust. Mini pie crust, that is. So I bought freezer section pie crust that I just sort of ball up and re-roll to do this with because it is a process to make pie crust and I am not that extra. I'm not. I could feel you looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that extra. It is a process. Have you ever made pie crust?
Yes, I have.
It's a process. This is so much easier.
Okay.
If you guys want to be that extra, but I'm doing the freezer section one. I've got a piece of parchment paper down on my counter to kind of keep it clean. And I put a little bit of flour on it just so the dough doesn't stick. And I always like to kind of flatten it down first before I start rolling. And I roll it down to just a little bit thicker than 1/8 of an inch. I want the final circle to be about 1/8 of an inch. And I have this super awesome cutter that cuts circles for me, so they're perfect circles. Doesn't work that well because it got squished in my drawer, but it does what I need it to do still. So I can cut that circle. And then I have to roll it out just a little bit more because it should be approximately, thank you. Thanks, hands. It should be approximately 4.5 inches in diameter. Once you have it to the correct width, you're just going to very carefully place it into the muffin tin. Press it down with your fingers. I already prepped the rest of these, but I figured you'd want to see me do this too. So you get to watch me do the last one. Grab a fork, give it a couple of pokes. And make sure you get it all the way into the corners so you don't end up with weird round bottom pie crusts. I really like this muffin tin because it has this little lip around the top of the cup and it makes it really good for knowing where to stop the pie crust. And if it goes over a little bit, I just grab a knife and trim off that extra. And then for the finishing touch, there's still a little extra over here. For the finishing touch, I add some little fork tine imprints around the edges, just to make them look pretty. Now the top of these pies are going to be decorated with a little mini lightning bolt, since they are Butterbeer, Harry Potter, lightning bolt.
It's crazy. It's like you planned that.
Right?
What?
So I have a few made already, but I wanted you guys to see how I cut out these lightning bolts. And I place them in between. This is just my little cheat, so they don't have to use another pan. I just place them in between each cup. I have 10, I need 12. So I'm going to take some of these edges that are extra, and I'm going to start by cutting diagonal, horizontal, diagonal. One lightning bolt. Put you right there. That's the oven ready. This is almost perfect timing. When I first started making these little lightning bolts, I looked off of a picture and I copied the picture. Now I've made enough of them that I can just keep cutting. So there, I have my 12 lightning bolts. The oven has beeped and I can take it over there and put it in.
Can I put that in for you?
You sure can.
Oh, I get to do stuff.
Bake these for 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to start off with 10 and see how they look, but you stop them when they're nice and golden brown. Looks pretty good.
Look delicious.
Excellent. Now, we just took our pie crusts out of the oven, and while those are cooling, because they need to be completely cooled, we are going to mix up our filling. To start, we need to make some whipped cream. We got some heavy whipping cream. It's a cup. Pour that in the bowl for me. And I found this recipe on delish.com. It's for a normal-sized Butterbeer pie, but I modified it to suit my needs of extraness and love of mini foods. Mini foods. The recipe actually called for marshmallow cream, and I've not been able to find that anywhere. So I do marshmallow fluff, which is a little stickier, but it still gets the job done and tastes delicious. You need about half a cup of this. I just sort of estimate, because putting this to measure it, it just sticks inside. So I just estimate. What do you think? Does that look like half a cup? A little more?
A little bit more.
Who's going to be upset about extra marshmallow? Mm-hmm. I eat this stuff by the spoon. 0 calories.
Not if you eat the whole thing. You
Not all in one
right?
sitting.
Okay.
Not all in one sitting.
Just making sure.
All right, so I'm going to wash this off my finger. If you would like to start with the blender. We need to blend it. We need to blend this, whip it, until it mixes all of the marshmallow fluff into the whipped cream and into the heavy whipping cream and turns it into it's just, you just got to go with it. It's sticky, but I swear it works. All right, I can take over.
Good.
As you can see, our whipping cream is now whipped cream, forming some nice peaks. And I've got the pudding that I pre-made for this show that we are just going to pour this right in and fold it together. All right, I almost forgot the caramel and butterscotch sauce. Can you grab that for me?
Can't forget that.
I know, it's necessary.
Ooh,
so I will fold this in place while you get me that. And I'm just blending the butterscotch pudding right into the whipped cream, the marshmallow whipped cream. The recipe calls for caramel. However, I like to use butterscotch as well, so I just take a spoonful of each and add it in. Once again, I eyeball it. All right, can you take a spoon of each for me while I keep stirring?
Like a heaping spoon?
Maybe 2 spoons of each. I don't mind if you mix them up either.
Okay. Two.
Trying to get some of the whipped cream off of there.
And one of the caramel.
Drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Uno más.
And 2.
I'm going to mix this all in together, and then we can add it to our pies. You want to go grab our pie crusts?
I will.
Awesome. If you wanted to, you could just use a normal size pie crust and pour this straight into there, but I like the little ones, they're cute. They are tasty and adorable. Okay.
Everybody loves handheld foods.
All right, so do you mind? I gotta get the caramel off my finger. So if you can start dishing,
I have some on mine
just
too.
fill it up as much as you can, and then I'll trade with you so you can wash your hands too. That's teamwork.
That is teamwork. Bring it on.
If you're making this, and like me, you've ended up with a ton of extra filling, I highly recommend a spoon. It is delicious. Now that these are all finished, I'm going to pop them in the fridge. They'll need to chill for about 3 hours. All right, so this step's going to look pretty familiar to you because it's the same thing we did to mix into the filling, but we make a little bit more to go on top. If I was smart, I would have just made extra to begin with, but I didn't. This is that cup of cream, heavy whipping cream, a cup.
1 full cup.
1 full cup. And then again, the approximately 1/4 cup of this time. Oh, you got it?
Yep, I got it.
All right.
I was telling Ellen, if you dip your finger in water, boom, no
We'll
sticky
do
mess.
1 more of those. And I will once again blend this up till it becomes whipped cream, marshmallow whipped cream, and it takes about 6 minutes for that to happen. That got everywhere. All right, so now we got to put this whipped cream on top of the pies to make them look pretty. So I use a piping bag with a star tip.
Let me get you a spatula.
Now you just give it a little swirl and a peek in the middle.
Those are lovely.
Well, thank you. I learned it from watching you.
Oh, shucks.
Get a little bit more. He doesn't want to go down. Tastes good though.
It does. It's very, very tasty.
All right, I'm gonna do 1 more scoop. I'll hold it up. And, whoa, no. All right. To prettify these the rest of the way, we have some gold sprinkles and some little stars and our lightning bolts that we made. So I'm just going to grab a pinch, sprinkle it on top.
This is the fun part, guys. This is the part where you get to, like, just throw sprinkles at things.
I'm sorry. Eating them is the fun part.
Oh, yeah, well, that too. This is the fun part for me. I like just throwing sprinkles on things. Sprinkles are the glitter.
There is no reason why you would need to use more than one kind. This is, again, my extra showing. I think this makes them more magical.
Also, it's fun.
I love these little edible stars. Just a few.
Yeah, edible stars don't grow on trees, you know. Use them sparingly.
It's a little bottle.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And last, I take my little lightning bolts and I just set them right on top. Give it a little press so that it stays. And we have our mini Butterbeer.
Lovely.
Which taste as good as they look. Maybe even better. And there we go. Ready to eat.
Well, thank you so much for joining us in the kitchen with Just Keep Rolling. I'm Katie.
I'm Ellen.
And we are available to you at all times of the day. Every week we put out a new podcast, and you can find that on Podbean, on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you can find us.
But I do want to comment here that we are not available any time of the day.
Well, you can listen to us any time of the day.
You can listen to our podcast any time of the day.
You made it dirty. I just meant they can listen.
No, I wasn't trying to make it dirty. I just meant I'm not going to respond to a message from them at 4 a.m.
I'm usually awake. I might.
She
might.
Never know. She might.
It's kind of a thing.
But we love to hear from our listeners and now our viewers. We want to continue to grow this cooking show. So if you'd be able to help us out, we have a Patreon account, and you can check that out at justkeeprolling.patreon.com.
Yes.
Or patreon.com/justkeeprolling. We will put links in the description just in case we don't remember properly. Thank you so much for joining us for Just Keep Rolling in the Kitchen. We will see you next time.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully there is a next time. Become one of our patrons and fund us so we can do this.
Yes. You can also follow us on Facebook at JKR Podcast and Instagram and Twitter at Just Keep Rolling.
And any kind of support you can give, whether it's just following us, if you can become a patron for extra perks, we greatly would appreciate that.
Yes. And in the meantime,
just keep rolling. Thank you so much. No, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna say first.
You want to cut again?
No, just keep rolling.
Okay.
Oh, you did the thing!
Whoa.
You did the thing!